Hi, I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach, and I am here talking to you today about how incredibly powerful it is that so many men are doing Help.Them.Heal, and I've had so many requests from couples to do Help.Them.Heal. They're reading the book and they're thinking they need to have a specialist who can help them work through the book. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I wrote the book hoping that you could use the book as a therapist. But what I also know is there is nothing wrong with having some extra support. And that's what I believe that the couples that are contacting me need. You know, it feels scary to let your guard down and to be available to each other, to answer the questions that I talk about and help them heal. I mean, I not only ask you to identify each other's needs, and he, of course, is supposed to pay attention to her needs, but then I also want her to begin to pay attention to his. Now, I know as I say that, I may get some couples that think I'm saying have sex, because unfortunately they've been places where they heard and believed that his sex addiction was about sex, but it never is. It's not about how little or how much sex you had in your relationship. It's not about how adventuresome you were, what values you had in your sexual life. It is about the issue of compulsivity. And because it's called sex addiction, people think it's about sex, and it isn't. I'm going to share a secret with you. And I promise, if I've heard this once, I've heard this 1,000 times. When people went out and violated their marriage and went to massage parlors or strip clubs or prostitutes, 99% of those men said, I was addicted to the search, to the hunt, to the pursuit. But when I was actually in that room, whether it was a hotel room, somebody's home, maybe it was even your own home, men had shame attacks. Or they came out of their addictive high and they looked around and they saw filth and they saw needles and they saw baby bottles, and they were disgusted with themselves, and unfortunately sometimes disgusted with the sex worker. Now, I'm telling you that because I know that as a partner in this coupleship, there's usually, in 99% of all cases that I work with, that feeling of what was wrong with me? I'm not good enough. How could this have happened? What wasn't I doing? What secrets was he hiding about his feelings for me? And that's usually not the case at all. Now, I did have a couple just this week where he said I wasn't a good enough lover. And I said, that's the story he told himself to legitimize, rationalize, and justify what he did. Now, you and I both know, I should say all three of us know, that sex is a tough thing. It's not like you go to sex school. It's not like your parents give you instructions. It's not like the books can deal with all the emotions that go with sex. And so you just kind of have to trial and error it. And that almost invariably leaves all of us feeling insecure. And then betrayal happens, and you say to yourself, my worst nightmare is true. Not only does he not think that I was a good lover, and for the men that have female sex addicts, the same is true for you, but also, I also thought I probably wasn't good enough because I had no real way of knowing. Okay, so what I want you to get from this podcast is that his sex addiction wasn't about your sex life. And at some point, you can restore your sex life. It doesn't come very easily. You have to work on communication. He has to help you heal. You have to have some empathy for the shame he's feeling for having done this to you. Now that he's out of that fog, he can't believe it. And you probably do need to get yourself to a specialist. For anybody who's wanting good information, I want you to be able to go to www.sexhelpwithcarolthecoach and then find a specialist or a professional. It'll give you a directory of people that have been trained in this approach that is ERCM, the Early Recovery Couples Empathy Model. It's what Help.Them.Heal is all about. I know this is an arduous journey, but I want you to know, if you want to stay together, it's the roadmap for healing for both of you. And as always, if you have any questions, contact me at carolthecoach.com. And we'll talk soon.